James, you know the trickle-down effect. When one county goes one way, what are you keeping an eye on as far as where this presidential race could go? We're sitting here just waiting for the numbers.
Right.
Read them for us.
Well, right. Pennsylvania's going to be fine. Biden's going to win the 100,000, more than 100,000 votes. I'm keeping my eye on Georgia right now because I think they're going to have a county in by noon. And it's going to, the betting market seems to be very optimistic about it. So I'm going to be watching that closely. Arizona's done. Nevada's done. You know, this is, at the end of the day, this is not going to be a particularly close election. Biden will win the popular vote by more than Bush did in 2004, Obama in 2012. He will probably, not certainly, but probably end up with 307 electoral votes. I think Bush had 286 in 2012. And the popular vote is just going to keep going up. It's just going to keep going up. So I know it's been nerve-wracking for a lot of people, but it's not that close. It really isn't. I mean, Joe Biden is going to be the next president of the United States. It's that simple. And I think Governor Ridge makes a good point. These people counting these ballots are heroic, man. They're working hard. That's not an easy job.
Well, we haven't officially called any of those states. How are you so sure when you say Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Georgia, done? How do you know that? What are you seeing?
Well, I probably talk to 50 people a day. Every 15 minutes, I get what's outstanding in Georgia, what county is it from. I can look at Arizona, but I mean, they have people that like follow this. I understand the network has to be extremely cautious. I don't speak for MSNBC or anything like that, but there is information out there that people know. The AP, which I don't know has ever missed a call, has already called Arizona for the vice president. But we might have our own standards. They might be different. We might be a little more cautious. I don't know. But I'm not at all worried about Pennsylvania. People know where the votes are coming in from. They can estimate to a high degree of reliability what the percentages are going to be. We know where the Georgia votes are coming in. Actually, it's a little bit disputed. They might even be better for the Democrats than some people think, certainly no worse. It's going to be tight, but I feel pretty good. And the other thing is, Alaska is not done. There's a gazillion absentee ballots left to count. If you look at the returns in Alaska, it's only like 50% or something that are in. And most of these ballots are coming in from rural Alaska, which is heavily Democratic. And they had a really good program to get these ballots in. So there's a lot of things that are going on out there that our viewers need to know about. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to win Alaska, but somebody better take a look at what's going on out there, because next Tuesday they're going to start counting. And Al Gross and Joe Biden are going to make up a lot of ground. Whether they make up enough, I don't know.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a few less than a gazillion ballots out there. You say it's not over yet for Democrats. In terms of taking back the Senate. Why do you say that?
Well, there's going to be a runoff in Georgia. I'm pretty sure that Purdue is going to fall under the 50% threshold. So there's a runoff there. And then Warnock and Loeffler are going to go head-to-head in January. So it's highly likely you have 2 Senate seats. I don't know if we can win them, but the 2 Senate seats in Georgia. And the Alaska race is not over. I don't know the probability odds, but it is definitely not over. And the only way you can win an election is get in the election. And right now, the better quants think that Ossoff has a really good chance to hold Purdue under 50%. That's just a fact. We know there's going to be one runoff in Georgia in January. There could be 2, and the Alaska Senate seat is still to be decided.
If we do have a divided government, what will that mean for the next 4 years? Leader McConnell's signature was blocking Obama for 8 years. Joe Biden seems to think he'll be able to reach across the aisle and work with them. Any chance?
Well, first of all, it's not a given it's going to be 4 years. The Republicans have an awful Senate map in 2022. So, maybe it's going to be difficult the first 2 years, but we've had divided government before. And, the Republicans in the Senate are going to need things that only the president can give them. And the president's going to, need things that only the Senate Republicans can give them. That's just the way our democracy works. But it is not a given that the Republicans are going to control the Senate. It is likely, I admit that, but it is not a given. And it's certainly not a given that they're going to control the Senate for the next 4 years. If anybody would look ahead and see what that 2022 Senate map looks like, they can see that they have a lot of really vulnerable people, of vulnerable states also. So I don't buy that they're going to control the Senate. I think it is likely. I wouldn't bet. Go ahead. Sorry. Apologize.
James, I wish we had more time. Wait, I have to ask you, then where does this leave the Republican Party and Trump supporters, his millions of supporters, if he loses?
You know, we have to see that when Trump is beaten, okay, he is going to look different when the inevitable comes. He couldn't win, all right? He got beat. He is going to suffer from a 4 to a 5-point loss in the Electoral College. They go to David Wasserman's spreadsheet. They counted in 2016, I think, to early December. And there's ballots coming in, and the ballots that are coming in are going to overwhelmingly favor the Democrats. This election is not going to be particularly close. People need to know that. Trump is going to get beaten.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.